Welcome back to How to Scopes and Shovels 2, and today we're looking at everyone's favorite class, and the hammer of the force on your team, the Marksmen. But what even is the Marksman anyways? And how do I go from cannon fodder to team wiping a league? If you watch the tutorial for new players, which you totally should by the way, you'll know the basics for shooting. However, beyond this, there is slightly more depth. Rather than recoil in most other games, Scopes and Shovels uses random bullet spread. Instead of your bullets shooting perfectly straight, they will fire in a slight cone, as seen in the image. This is most heavily visible on SMGs due to their high rate of fire. While this does mean that you can basically just move your screen or mouse over to the enemy and just concern on hitting your shots, bullet spread is affected by player movement. I have made shorts and videos on every current weapon in the game's spread patterns. Because of this, there are 4 states of unique player movement: standing, crouching, moving, and jumping. While each of these can obviously cross over due to the complexity of player movement, these 4 states of movement define the bullet spread of your weapons. Standing is the most standard of the bullet spread. While you're standing still, your aim is stabilized and has minimal increase in the spread, and is good enough for covering fire, player duels, and sniping. Crouching is the next best, massively lowering your bullet spread, letting even the big spread guns like the Washington, Thompson, and Brushington become consistent head and body shot delivery tools. The worst positions you can do, however, is moving and jumping. While I can't yet figure out if jumping has its own level of bullet spread, moving and jumping turn your aim from sharpshooter to spraying your hose around the pool. And while obviously you don't want to be a sitting duck, this does make killing harder. Well, I'm not going to tell you how to play. Remember these things when you're playing, as sometimes you don't need accuracy to get by, but always remember to keep your cool and land clean shots over time. The enemy pretty often only needs to hit you a couple times, and has probably shot you when off guard a bit, so you need to make your shots count. Now is a good time to mention that this is also a third-person game. First person I already covered in the tutorial, and if you played any FPS game, this is basically second nature. However, third person also exists. If you played on Roblox for a while, you probably recognize that using a similar system to shift lock. Rather than locking to the center of your screen, however, it follows your mouse position. This is entirely inaccessible to mobile players due to technology differences and inevitably console players. If you're a mobile player and wonder how someone can just spin like a madman and laser you down, there's a high likelihood they're in third person. I had to take a photo on my phone for this, but the cursor is invisible when screenshotting. Aiming down in first person with right-click/scope is only visible to you, and enemies just see you holding your gun momentarily. However, you pretty much can't aim down at all in third person anyways, and crouching is the substitute, bringing the same spread reduction as aiming down does in line. Third-person players can very easily crouch or walk toward you before blasting you with accurate fire. While not being able to use scopes is a pretty big trade-off, the amount you can zoom out in third-person pretty much makes them have equivalent field of view. While third-person is pretty powerful, it's not perfect. Whenever you're in a roof space like your objective, you're forced to a particular amount of camera zoom, and players running in front of the camera can force that zoom to be very close along with messing up the body of track. Finally, the dev team has occasionally stated that third person's current form is effectively a placeholder for an unknown proper aiming system, so this might become outdated in due time. The final tip for this section is literally just reload cancel. Just start reloading and then unequip the gun. Whatever amount of rounds that are placed remains, while canceling the full reload animation and letting you fire again after you finish the equip animation. While this does conclude the advanced accuracy system explanation and some tips, this is all pretty basic. Any Counter-Strike player who plays this game will use their aim strategies in here and excel. And while I can't blame them for being as apocalyptically sweaty as I am, the developers hardly ever use the aim system beyond remembering not to sprint while shooting, as seen in footage by our glorious queen, Chaotic Fell. You want to get good? You want to clear out entire spawning in teams, decimate sapper nests, and win games alone? Then listen up, because now we shall be covering something that I think is damn near future-proof and will change how you play forever. This is If you've ever watched any videos from the British Tank Museum YouTube channel, you may be familiar with this concept. Admittedly, they are also pretty much identical anyways, but ignoring that cough. The iron triangle works on a pretty simple concept of three extremes: weapon damage, weapon accuracy, and weapon firepower. Weapon damage is obvious enough, but accuracy both counts weapon spread, but also bullet velocity and other factors that you need to consider. Firepower is how many rounds you can throw downrange. However, there are some exceptional weapons, but these are just simply due to having two of each corner while lacking one entirely, rather than super overpowered weapons. Most of the weapons near the middle, while stable choices, are not perfect and simply generalist all-rounders with no special. Let's start looking at some of the weapons with the three we mentioned in our last video on the Tunnel Man.
Blood for the blood god! For the skull throne! Blood for the blood god! Gordon will always have blood! Yours all there!
Despite being the second smallest weapon category and tying in with melee weapons somehow, the shotguns are by far the most easy to pick up and use effectively. Firing obviously in spread shot and dealing high damage when all pellets hit, they're already good when not considering accuracy. But when you remember these foundational things, they go from just as good as everything else to some of the best player-killing weapons you got. The M248 tunnel gun is your classical double-barrel shotgun, dealing lots of damage with great accuracy at the cost of low rate of fire. While it's pretty good when in spaces where accuracy isn't that important, when you crouch and stop moving just for the moment to land a shot, you'll go from needing both rounds to just one shot at you from even medium range. While again, you only have 2 rounds, you can go for needing to reload or switch to a different weapon after only killing one person and damaging the other, to clearing out small groups incredibly fast. That, and it's still a great weapon for 1v1s, since even if all your pellets don't hit the first time, the second shot will finish off whatever remained of their health, or you can just melee. The brushing ton is no slouch either. The 6 rounds in the chamber aren't low damage, and even at mid-range, you can get your targets down just as fast as the tunnel gun. In a full shotgun loadout, it's your primary gun to deal with large groups, covering up the tunnel gun's ability to insta-kill only 2 people with a huge rate of fire with good close-range damage. Finally, the sawed-off. It sits at the top of the damage point on the iron triangle for a reason, pretty much sacrificing any accuracy except at close range, and having the same rate of fire issues as the tunnel gun. The sawed-off compensates by being able to easily one-tap people just like its bigger brother. Enemies who are hurt but not dead are still full threats, and being able to get rid of 1 to 2 people instantly raises your odds by a lot. I personally love to use it when crossing no man's land, as third-person aim just lets me rush in, shoot downwards on anyone who wants to pop up and get me before I go into the trench, and enter and mostly escape. In a full shotgun loadout, while you are hard-pressed to deal damage at long range, you're a monster in medium to close. Other shotgunners typically have to resort to suppressing fire with a tunnel gun to have more than a 50-50 chance of killing you up close, and SMGs have to stay at their less effective long range to not put everything down at low. Unfortunately, your main threat is mostly SMG gunners and rifle marksmen, but if you have cover or enough teammates, you can go into fights and wipe out people fast. High risk sometimes when missing shots, but always high reward. Speaking of SMGs,
full auto, 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 full auto.
do you love the roar of the machine gun? Do you want consistency? Do you want to shred down buildings, players, and pretty much everything that isn't indestructible? Are you also a sweaty, optimizing gamer like I am? Then you want everyone's favorite set of guns, the SMGs. Currently, the SMGs are the smallest weapon category, but frankly, until other guns in the other categories exist, I think it's for everyone's benefit they don't get another for now. Both SMGs have 30 rounds in each magazine and 150 rounds of reserve ammo. This means a lot for you. The first off is that you will almost never run out of ammo in firefights. 5 reloads in this game is a lot when considering how fast the time to kill is, and 30 rounds in the mag, if you never miss your shots, means that killing an entire team is indeed possible with only 2 reloads or less. The second is that covering fire and sustained fire is both very doable and very easy. Recent nerfs to the trench carbine have made it have the same fire rate as the Thompson, so both guns aren't expending their entire magazines in a few seconds, and their reloads are decently fast enough to make just pinning someone down behind cover easy enough. You can just mag dump, and again, with no recoil in the game, have accurate and consistent fire for a while, especially when defending an objective. Third, and finally,
it's a machine gun! Machine gun!
Full auto is full auto. You don't need every shot to hit. Just hold down fire and follow their movement. Your bullet spread usually will compensate for drift, and bullet velocity is high enough that you just need line of sight to kill. Returning to the iron triangle, each SMG sits where it does respectively. The Thompson has pretty poor accuracy when not crouching, but focuses in when crouching and still, but the damage against players and buildings is always worth it. The trench carbine is currently in a bit of a sad state, but mostly just due to losing its gimmick of accuracy. Also, yeah, the Thompson can saw through log walls in 2 mags. The trench carbine can do it in 4. A full triple SMG loadout is not yet doable, but that just means you can supplement this firepower with anything you need. Both SMGs provide 2 simple jobs, accuracy and damage, and do it stellar. You can fight in medium and long range pretty much without issue, and while you might not be able to kill them, snipers can still get hit with bullets at long range. I mentioned in the shotgun section that SMG gunners do have to worry about being close, but if you catch a shotgunner off guard, or indeed just stay calm and muscle through the shots, you can take them down and leave with low health, or take them down with you. In mid to long range, they're almost non-threats if you, again, just keep your calm and focus on keeping accurate kill shots. Out of the iron triangle, you probably want a sidearm that can either finish off hurt enemies, or simply delete them before starting the fight. My personal choice is the sawed off, but the slam-in is also a good choice since it's an exceptional gun. Knop equips fast, so if an enemy survives your burst, you can instantly put them down. In short, SMGs are basically the current Apex Predator weapon. While they do have weaknesses, as they can't instantly kill people, they're the best generalist option, and they're my personal weapons of choice in third and first person clean house. Well, last but not least,
Headshot.
I must admit, I'm actually a piss-poor sniper. The only gun I've calculated the bullet drop for is the Babineau, and my only good kill streaks are on Actone, where the enemy snipers are basically spoon-fed to me by spawning in. However, I can at least put in my take. This is a no-brainer for most mainstream FPS players, but bullet drop exists, and the scopes do indeed actually work for calculating it. It's not that in-depth of a system, there isn't wind direction or anything, but besides some scopes being offset from the barrel and iron sight, sniping is pretty self-explanatory. Going straight into the iron triangle, all 4 of the rifles you were given at the start of the game follow basic archetypes. Kelly rifle is accurate, Washington deals the most damage, Babineau is average, and Winchester can spit rounds like no tomorrow. The musket is literally just a one-shot, one-kill Kelly gun, so I'm not going to mention it from here on other than instant killing a game, where people don't get knocked down or flinch or hurt is pretty important. The Winchester and Washington are 2 extremes, but they're sadly too extreme for their purposes. The Winchester compensates for low accuracy by having a high rate of fire, and with almost all of the rifles dealing the same amount of damage, with half health on body and killing /near death on head, it's pretty inconsequential. However, players can move fast, like really fast, faster than you can shoot another accurate round. If your aim is good enough, it's not an issue really. But with 8 rounds, you're going to be hard-pressed to defeat groups of players or snipe reliably from long range, which mid-range and long-range specialists will probably hunt you down for. I'm biased against the Washington since I have a mild resentment to snipers on roadblocks in general due to tunnel vision causing a lot lost games. But try and stay unbiased. The spread on it is just too much for a single shot rifle. And while the reload isn't that long, the bullet velocity isn't even that fast, so you'll be spending a while to get a standing target kill. Returning to my hatred, this means you're standing around, doing nothing, while your team gets devoured by 3 billion conjugulation tunnels. Your artillery gets destroyed before firing a single shot since it was never used. The Kelly rifle and Babineau are kind of like the Thompson and trench gun, but for accuracy and firepower. The Kelly gun has the tightest bullet spread among rifles, and bullet velocity means that it's basically just point and click on heads with minimal scope adjustment. However, it chambers rounds a bit slow, and with 7 rounds in the clip, it's not the best for killing moves. However, it is your starter gun for a reason. It can still kill quick, accurately, and drop low health people flat. And with teammate support, you become an invaluable link in the defensive chain. The Babineau is my favorite rifle because...
Listen, fellow orcs, I request that you, my comrades, will expend more of your shooter's ammunition into general vicinity of our antagonists in an attempt to seize the opposition against us, the orcs, so that we may reap the wealth and surprise of our previously mentioned assailants, therefore rejuvenating our own potency into forthcoming engagements. You gets.
But if I wanted raw firepower, the Winchester is right there. The Babineau has 10 rounds in the tube, which is quite a lot for a rifle, but they still have the same damage values. While this comes at the cost of bullet spread and low velocity, I've pretty much precalculated the bullet drop perfectly. So it's not a problem as long as the enemy stays still, isn't 30 miles away. 10 rounds that are fired quickly can mean 5 to 10 people dead. And since rarely are you ever dueling against 10 snipers, that means you can make the same 3 to 4 guys bite the curve over and over as they spawn in the counter snipe, and you still have rounds in the tube. Here's some footage of me on Actone with the Babineau. Remember Akella, I'm always recording. I'll be showing off your whining at the end. But yeah, unfortunately I'm not that skilled at being a sniper. So the only advice I can give is use the 9th mark on the Babineau to snipe across the whole spawns. Being a full sniper isn't too bad, but you see a lot of tunnel vision with rifles for a reason. Digging is useful. Sidearms are pretty much not a real class choice, as much as they are situational. Knopf for finishing up damaged enemies, Schofield for hurting people with rifle damage, and 1911 for when you want more punch out of your Knopf, and sawed off and slam instead. Pick as you need, since you do need to reload your primaries, and we all know that.
Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading.
That's pretty much it for today, although I guess melee weapons do sort of count. Trench Mace swings faster than Shovel, but same damage, and Metallic Rod doesn't always kill on body shot. Also, if you're insane, the instruments and construct tool work in the Iron Triangle too, I guess. That's it for today. Stay tuned for part 3 of this series, The Sapper. Bye all, and thank you for watching. Spread the word.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething. You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard.